Hey Into Picklers, this video is a deep dive. In this video we're going to go deep into a lot of different shot sequences in the match between Frank Anthony Davis and Rob Cassidy against Tommy Boyette and Eric White. It's a 5.0 men's final match. We'll be looking at concepts like the X, shaping of the shots. We'll be looking at the danger posed by the middle shot, covering the middle, and some other concepts. Frank was gracious enough to allow us to use this video and break down these shots for instructional purposes. I want to thank him for that. I also want to clarify that nothing in this video is intended to be a criticism of any of the players. They are all excellent 5.0 men's players. The analysis in this video is intended to be constructive and to provide guidance for better pickleball play. This is your last warning. This is a deep dive with an in-depth analysis. If this is not your thing, maybe go to a different video. If it is your thing, follow me down the rabbit hole. First concept I want to get into is a concept of shaping the shot. This is a kind of a difficult concept to explain. It's kind of ephemeral. It's easier to explain by showing you some shots. So what I've done here is showing you some of Frank's shots here at the net, some of his dinks. Now that I've slowed it down, you can see how he shapes these first two shots. Look how he shapes that ball to where he wants it to go. This next shot, you'll see he does not shape it. Instead of shaping this shot, he keeps the paddle open, resulting in a pop-up that Tommy can attack. In this next sequence, I've again slowed down Frank's shots. He has a really nice way of shaping that ball. He's not just hitting a third shot, he's actually shaping the ball into exactly where he wants the ball to go. You'll see Frank again in this next sequence shape the first shot. I want to show you here, even though Eric is under the net hitting that ball, look how Rob split steps there. They move forward. Everybody's shaping the ball nicely. You're going to see Frank redirected here towards Tommy in a second. He leaves it a little open, but still redirects it to Tommy. Tommy's going to then try and aggro dink Rob here, shapes it with a topspin into Rob's feet. Rob resets the ball again. Tommy's now going to step in and hit a nicer shaped ball, pushing Rob or pulling Rob wide there. It's a really nicely shaped ball here. And then you'll see how Rob's able to reset that ball. You can see that as everybody's been pulled to the right, Eric is trying to shape that ball back the other way behind Frank. Unfortunately, he leaves it up a little bit. Frank then pushes the ball towards Tommy's feet to end the point. This next point, I want you to see how Frank uses shaping of the ball to win the point. On the first shot, he benefits from a net point there, but you see how he basically shapes it over, moves Eric over, and then just kind of shapes that nice little volley to the middle to win the point. As I mentioned at the beginning, the concept of shaping is ephemeral. The best way to think about it is that you're intentionally hitting the ball in a way to impart a shape or a form on that ball that will take it to the spot for your intended results. Let's do a deep dive into the concept of the X. We did a video on this already explaining what the X is. I'll link to that below if you're not familiar with it. Please check out that video so you understand the concept as we go through it in this video. Let's get into the X by looking at a couple of third shots. In the first one, you're going to see how Eric is returning essentially cross court. The ball is heading towards Rob. Frank comes across the X to execute the third shot. You can see him there executing the third shot. You can see how by having to open up his body like that, he can't really execute a good third shot. In the second one, you'll see how the ball is being returned by Tommy towards Frank, and how Frank can much more easily hit the third shot from that direction because he is on the other end of that X axis. Because he's on the other end of the axis, the ball is actually coming into his body, and he doesn't have to reach away from himself in order to hit the third shot. These next couple shots, we're going to see the same thing that we saw with Frank, but with Rob coming across the X. This first one, you'll see how he has to come across the X. It's a different kind of shot than the next one when the ball is basically coming into his body. It's just an easier shot to hit the third shot here when the ball is coming into your body rather than having to reach away. In this next sequence, we're going to see how both Tommy and Eric reach across. You're going to see it here. Tommy's reaching across here. Eric is set up to hit that ball, but Tommy reaches across, pops it up, and then Eric reaches across. Tommy's set up behind him to hit it, pops it up, and they end up losing the point. This next sequence, you're going to see how Frank comes over towards Rob's end of the court and leaves a bunch of open court behind him. Eric can't quite get it far over to punish him for it, but that's the idea there. Then you're going to see here how Eric is going to reach across the middle here and leaves the open court behind him. Again, you'll see Rob is going to go hit behind him. Doesn't really hurt him too much there, but it's still an open court there. Nice aggro dink there by Eric, pushing Rob back, creating stress, ultimately ending the point. This next sequence, you're going to see how much easier it is for Frank to handle these two shots by respecting the X. Both balls are becoming into his body. He can hit nice shots on that one and on this one here, setting up a ball for the potential winner. This next sequence, what we're going to see is how breaking the X can hurt you on defense. You're going to see a bunch of shots back and forth here. Then you're going to see Rob take a very aggressive position from a very low spot here. He hits the ball down the middle. Then Eric basically intercepts the ball there. You can see that Tommy's ready behind to put it away, but Eric breaks the X and Tommy can't put the ball away. This next sequence, we're going to see a couple of times where Frank and Rob reach across in the no volley zone in the soft game and ultimately end up creating an opening on the right side that Eric capitalizes on to put away the point. I want to go back briefly and focus on the two times that Rob and Frank reached across. In the first one, you're going to see when Frank is reaching across, Rob is set up to hit the ball. It's coming towards him. He's going to hit the ball probably more easily than Frank can reaching across that way. The second time, look how far stretched Rob is in order to hit that ball. Now, Rob is a super athletic guy, can stretch and reach balls really well, but maybe there it's better to let Frank reach that ball or hit that ball rather than for Rob to reach across the way he is. This is another sequence where you're going to see Frank and Rob reach across. At first, Frank reaches across on this third shot, moves Rob over to the right, opening up the left. Now in this, you're going to see Rob comes over and reaches across to the left, opening up the right a little bit, and then allows Eric to attack him while he's recovering from his shot. Here, Frank again comes over to take the third shot. It may be that Frank and Rob had a strategy that Frank was going to take those, but what it does in this situation, you'll see it opens up the court behind him, and Tommy can stress him. Now, Frank is fast and can get back to that ball, but it does allow Tommy to apply stress to the team because of the fact that Frank has moved over to the right to take the third shot. Here you're going to see Frank start to move over to take the shot, but then Rob must have called him off because Rob's going to take the shot down the middle here and drive it. In addition to being able to generate more power because he's coming towards the ball, Frank is able to stay over on his side, and you'll see he'll be able to finish the point off from his side of the court. In this last sequence on the X, what we're going to do is we're going to see some dinking between Tommy and Frank and then Tommy and Rob. The last time you're going to see Rob move over to his left significantly, opening up a space behind him. Now Tommy misses that shot, but it does open up the opportunity for that shot to be taken. I want to pause for a moment here and point out the fact that Tommy missed this shot doesn't change the fact that moving over in that situation is not the optimal move because it allows the possibility for that shot to be taken and increases the chances that the other team will win the point, or in flip it the other way around, decreases the chances that you're going to win the point. Everything that we do in pickleball ought to be to increase our chances and decrease the other side's chances, and opening up opportunities like this just doesn't do that. The X is not a hard rule. It's a concept to help with court positioning and understanding what happens when you reach across or break the plane of the X, how sometimes you'll open up the court and maybe put yourself in a situation where the shot you can hit is not as optimal as your partner. There are times to break the X and to take the shot, such as when your partner isn't executing third shots well and maybe it's better for you to take a third shot. When you're poaching, you can certainly break the X. So there's times to break the X, but having an understanding of the X will help you with your court positioning and optimize your play. Let's turn now to some of the sequences to look at how both teams move here, primarily on the service side of things, how they move as a team towards the net after a serve. In this first sequence, the returner serve goes to Eric. Tommy looks over to Eric to see what kind of shot Eric is hitting before he makes the decision to come up to the net, and then they both move up together. In this shot, I want you to see the split step that both Eric and Tommy execute at the same time. You see Frank's about ready to hit the ball. Both Tommy and Eric stop, do a split step, and get ready to receive the next ball. And now Tommy comes in and exploits an opening he sees on the right. This sequence shows another well-timed split step by both Eric and Tommy at the moment Rob's ready to execute his shot. In this next point, you're going to see what happens when you expose your feet to your opponent. Here, Frank moves forward, exposing his feet to Eric for a put away. Probably would have been better here for Frank to maybe stay a step or two back so that he could defend the next shot. At this point, look at Tommy and Eric on the forecourt. They hit a high third shot. They stay back on Frank's attack. They're both at the baseline here. They can defend here. Then they're going to hit a nice third shot off of Frank's attacking ball and then move in for the kill. Eric misses the shot, but it's still the right move, and Eric will make that shot more often than not. In this next point, Frank and Rob never really come in together as a team. You're going to see Frank move up. Rob kind of stays behind, and then Rob is in a defensive position, but Frank's up at the net. The team is always stronger when you're together at the baseline or together at the no volley zone. This is another example where Rob and Frank are just not in sync in terms of the court positioning. Rob is playing a defensive position here, and Frank's still up at the net, allowing him to be attacked. Here you're going to see Frank and Rob do a much better job of coming in together as a team. Rob looks over at Frank's shot, likes the shot. They both move up together. There's a back and forth thinking here with Tommy. Eric becomes a little static here. You can see Eric really isn't moving with the point, and then when the ball comes to Eric, he ends up missing it into the net. In this last point on moving as a team, you'll see again, Frank kind of cheats in a little much and then gets attacked at the feet by Eric, and then they put the ball away. A better option for Frank here is to stay back towards the baseline, defend the next shot, and then move in together with Rob. It's almost impossible to overstress the importance of moving together as a team, forward, backwards, and side to side, always being cognizant of where your partner is, particularly when you're the non-hitting player. Let's look at a couple of shot sequences regarding covering the middle. Third shot by the players in the return team at the no volley zone. We did a video on this. If you're not familiar with this concept, I'll link to it below so you can take a look at it. But basically the concept is that the non-returning player who's up at the no volley zone should take the middle third shot, or the third shot of the serving team that goes down the middle. In the first shot, you're going to see how Rob takes over that third shot, so he'll slide over, take the middle third, put some pressure on Eric and Tommy, who can't move up all the way because Rob has intercepted that ball and put it at their feet to put pressure on them and ultimately win the point. In the second shot, you're going to see that Eric does not slide over to take the middle third that Rob and Frank have put over the net. It's probably a ball that he could have attacked, but instead Tommy has to take it on the bounce because Tommy's still moving forward, allowing Frank and Rob to move forward. Check out the other video for an in-depth analysis of covering the middle. This is an important strategic concept as you continue to advance in the game. Let's look at a couple stacking concepts. One concept I want to look at is the place for the best return of serve in a stack. And then the second thing I want to look at is basically the switch stack, where instead of being off to the side and then coming in as the non-returner, instead you stand in the normal position and then shift across or switch across after the return has hit. These first 2 points, you're going to see how Rob returns cross court each time. If you look when Tommy's going to hit the ball, he has the down the line shot available to him. This allows Tommy to apply stress on Rob and Frank with his shot. The other thing is, by Frank being off the court and then moving onto the court, it's harder for him to cover the middle shot if need be. In these next two shots, I want you to see how Frank returns down the line on the stack. It takes away the down the line shot from Tommy, so Tommy can't apply pressure on that position. The other thing is, if you see Rob is switching over, allowing Rob to basically cover the middle in this situation. If you stack as part of your double strategy, which I highly recommend, think about where you're returning the ball to reduce the amount of pressure that the serving team can apply on you with their next shot, and also consider shifting from the middle to allow the non-returner a better opportunity to cover that area of the court. Let's look at two sequences that will help illustrate the importance of weight transfer on the third shot. In the first sequence, you're going to see Tommy try to hit a third shot off of his back foot. You see he can't impart enough energy into the ball to get it across the net. In the second sequence, you'll see Tommy execute two third shots or long dinks. The first time he's leaning back or on his back foot, and you see how he pops the ball up and allows Frank to attack it. The second time, as he's moving forward after a couple of exchanges, you'll see how he moves forward and he's leaning forward or stepping forward into the shot, and he executes a much better shot in this position. If you find yourself having trouble with your third shots, either going short or popping up, consider how you're transferring your weight and maybe bring your shoulders a little more forward and bring the weight forward into the shot rather than leaning back. Might help fix the third shot. Let's get into our last topic in this deep dive video. We're going to look into the issue of creating opportunities for the other team when you take a shot down the middle off of a disadvantageous position. What I mean here is, taking a shot down the middle on a put away is fine, but sometimes we tend to take a shot down the middle off of a low ball or a shot that just isn't there. That creates an opportunity for the other side to then counter punch and puts us at a disadvantage in the point. These next 2 points, you're going to see Tommy try and win the point through the middle. Each time Rob takes advantage of the shot, and the first time sets up a put away, the second time wins the point outright off of Tommy's attempt to hit it down the middle. Each time that Tommy is trying to hit the shot, it's not a good position for him to hit the shot from. And this last one, you'll see Eric do the same thing here from a position that's not really advantageous to do this from, and Frank takes advantage of it and wins the point. In these last 3 sequences, you're going to see Rob try and do the same thing in terms of taking a shot down the middle from a position that's not really advantageous. In the first two, Eric is not able to capitalize on them. In the last one, Tommy isn't able to capitalize them. But each time the advantage belongs to Eric and Tommy on that shot. It's better there to avoid giving the advantage to the other team and take another shot, whether it's a reset, a dink, or some other shot, rather than trying to push it down the middle. The middle is a good place to attack when you have an attackable ball like a slam or an easy put away, but it is a dangerous area to attack or try to attack if you have a position or a ball that is not an advantageous position or ball, such as when you have a ball that's below the net or you have a ball that pulls you out wide. Trying to attack the middle from those positions will often result in giving the advantage to the other team.